I think for men in general, they believe that you know how to do this. This motherhood, you are set, you're the best person for it. And they are there as
And you're
supporting.
equipped. Supporting role of...
And a minor support, not a major support.
Yeah.
You know.
Because you got this.
In the credits, there's the main actor, and then there's the other mains, and then all the key grip boy grips. Yeah. So him is a key grip in his mind. He's like, I bring the diapers closer.
Yeah.
Jambo. This is Sophie. Over to you.
Hello. This is Mel. I saw that look. So we had energy.
I'm like, I don't know, you people, you think I'm predictable. I'm not. I am full of surprises.
Sure you are. Sorry.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Wanjiro. The most sober and sane one, as is obvious. I don't know. Tune to episode.
You'll see the facts. She ran away from home. This is Ninja Parenting. Welcome.
Welcome. Another one.
We're doing
Another
well.
banger.
Hey,
So-
I like that. That is my next
That's your next nini. Yeah.
greeting. Another banger.
So today
Uh-huh.
we've jumped the broom to the point of no return, where now this is the point of conflict.
Guy.
Hey, conflict points in marriage.
Mm.
And parenting.
Mostly
specifically.
parenting,
It's but
yeah.
but then
it's
it's part of the marriage, right? If you're blessed with children. And I think one of the most controversial things that I don't think I ever foresaw was the conversations around who's doing what with the kids and expectations.
Yes.
So how are you guys faring on that topic?
Oh, I see what you
I'm
did
like,
there. So I introduced and then now is the rest of us.
I'm like, go you into the world and begin the fire.
All right. I mean, it is a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
And before we go very far, like we were told to issue disclaimers,
yeah.
there is love in our respective marriages, for sure. But then this is a topic that inevitably, just like money, for example, there are some things that are just sensitive. So this is one of those ones that inevitably just is tricky, to be honest. Yeah. Even when it goes really well, there's always going to be areas where there's contention because you're fighting with a lot of history. You're fighting with people's personalities. You're fighting with the way that they were raised, the way that they've grown up, what their household looks like. So talking about parental roles and who does what and everything. My experience with my first, I think it's evolved, I would expect. Yeah. So for us guys with our first, I remember trying, and I say trying here, to have that discussion before the baby was born. So I was already thinking, so who's going to be waking up? Who's going to be changing diapers? Who's going to be doing all those things? And if you know me, I'm an overthinker. So I was trying to anticipate problems and trying to anticipate what life is going to look like, not having ever experienced what this other side of it looks like. So I think for my partner at that time, he was like, just chill. Babe, just relax. Everything will work out.
Watcha.
Hey, yes. Then we got to the other side of things, and because we'd not had these conversations and everything, everyone kind of then slips into what's a predetermined groove, like based on your default. So, how are you raised? What was it like in your household? What was it like with all of the people that you've observed also on this same journey? And for me, then I found it difficult, I would say, because it seemed like it was a lot on me to do everything related to the child that was admin. So if we're changing diapers, if we're bathing children, if we're feeding, it just felt a lot like I was doing all of the hard stuff. And then now when it was time for beautiful photos and then it was time for the easy stuff, the ones that look good. The glam. Yes, that's how it felt.
Yeah.
But I recognize that the conversation, it took a very long time for us to actually have this this is our child. It came out of both of us. So these are the expectations. This is where I feel like it's not working for me. This is what is working for me, etc. What's going on with you? It took a long time to get to that point. Yeah. Now, where?
I don't even know if we have recovered.
Is there ever recovering?
Is there ever?
Because it is still, I think, in the stages.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Beth. I was thinking it was going to be 50-50, right down the middle. That everything I did, he would do, and to the same level of expertise.
Except
The
boobing.
expertise.
Yes.
Except anything related to
To
boobs.
boobs.
Yeah.
I assumed then he would just fall in line and do as I do
Equally.
and not wait for me to present opportunities. He was just supposed to come in and be like, it is my turn now. Of course, that did not happen. And I don't even think
Ground.
that is happening.
Background.
Anyway, I think, I was really overwhelmed with how much responsibility was falling on me. And I think also for him, I think for men in general, they believe that you know how to do this. This motherhood, you are set, you're the best person for it. And they are there as
And you're
supporting.
Supporting role of...
And a minor support, not a major support.
Yeah.
You know,
Because you
there's-
got this.
In the credits,
Yeah.
there's the main actor, and then there's the other mains, and then all the key
Dolly
grip
grips.
boy grips. Yeah.
Yeah.
So him is a key grip in his mind. He's like, I bring the diapers closer.
Yeah.
That's what he thought. And I don't blame him because I don't think men are really prepared. They don't go for these antenatal. They don't know much about what is happening with child development. No one is really telling them that this is what is going to happen once the baby arrives and that your wife is going to need you to level up. She might not even be able to say what she needs because she doesn't also know what she needs. And she's counting on you to be intuitive, to just see the cues and jump in. So in that regard, I think men are really not prepared and we hold them to such a high standard. Again, it is our standard. Yeah, we want them to perform at our level, if not better. And when they are doing their best, we're like, even you shouldn't have started.
Yeah.
You should have just left this baby.
Yeah.
Now this diaper is upside down.
What
now
is
I
the
have to
point?
come back and redo this project because it is now,
Yeah. So that is the struggle, and it's for us. It's a source of conflict because I still think I'm on that mode that I'm expecting certain things to just be natural. The other day we were going out. Now my kids are 7 and 5. They're grown up. We were going out. I had come from running around running errands, and I was coming home to get everybody so we can go. So I walk into the house, and he's the only one who has eaten. In fact, his plate is there, and I'm looking. So have the others eaten? Like, oh. I was like, oh.
The children are starving.
Oh. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So now I have to prepare food for the kids.
Yeah.
Then I have to get the bags. You know, those
And at that
accessories.
point, you're boiling.
I am
Fuming.
And then the guy's like, are you guys ready? I'm like, oh, hold me, father.
Somebody gonna die tonight.
Yeah. So I don't know that we ever get to a place where we are doing that 50-50 and he's picking up on the cues. And I don't know if
There's a
that's an
constant
expectation
tension.
I should have anymore.
That's a good one.
Sophie, I have a question. What is that though? What, like, on his part?
Yes.
5 and 7, you've had practice. That's
Yes.
12 years. So for you who's in the thing,
Yes.
what is that? Is it because, and not to be harsh on your husband, I'm just curious.
Yes.
The state of mind of another parent
Yeah.
who, even in a situation where I'm feeding myself and I haven't fed my kids, that I'm okay with that.
And that's the thing. I think for women, it's just part of child rearing. You are the one who is responsible through and through. Whether there's another person or not, it falls on you. And I think we think that men are cued in
The same way.
the same way as us.
They're not.
And they're not.
Yeah.
And we hold them to a standard that they have not been trained in. Yeah.
And we sometimes don't allow it as well. So
Yeah.
see, the thing is,
it's true.
however many years later, 12 years later, so if this has been the common pattern from the beginning, you put yourself in the role of the primary.
Yes.
So baby cries, you're the one who runs immediately.
Yes.
Diaper is changing, you're the one who goes immediately. So he doesn't actually get a chance to practice it. And so now it becomes the norm. So you have also participated in setting up that
Creating
standard.
that. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
You're
many
upset.
years down the line, you're upset because I was expected to think about their food. Usually do that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help either when we become enablers
We
in
are.
that sense.
Yeah.
But
we
the
do
truth
create
is
that. We do create that environment in all honesty. And I think sometimes, in all fairness, I think everybody, like we said, falls into their default, right? And so let's also understand that where we are, it's like we're in a generational shift in terms of parenting because our parents were our mothers, so they had their own shift where I guess the evolution was the first ones where the men would go look for whatever, the women would be home with the children. Then it got to a point the women now began to go to the fields and whatever, and then the men would. So somehow, slowly over time, women have always had the dominant role in the home, but the change is they no longer stay at home. We're both equally going out to look for this
bread
and bacon, and to feed the family. Equally now, at this point, it's almost equal, or if not, sometimes even more.
It's
you know.
not
It depends.
balanced.
It's not balanced, all right?
Yeah.
But basically, we're all putting in the same amount of effort. We live at the same time. We have the same children to prepare. We have the same. So this, for our parents, they did both, where they did prepare. They did all the work at home, and or for our mothers, they did the work at home, and the men just still stayed in the same beat of. I come home, I put my feet up, I've had a long day.
Yeah.
Where's the food? Where's the children are running around? That's somebody else's responsibility. Now, that's what this guy has seen default in his home. And it's like, see, my mother also used to work and my father still used to chill. But now there's a shift where, now this generation is more woke. We're like, listen,
Yeah.
if we're doing this all the way. And so
It's a partnership.
if it's
It
a
means
partnership,
equal.
it's a partnership. So if
Yeah.
we're both putting on the table, we're putting on the table on all fronts.
Yeah.
We are parenting together.
Yeah.
We are doing this, we're doing this together. So that shift is what now, unfortunately, we are finding ourselves trying to train
Yeah.
because it wasn't there. Looking at it in terms of like, I can see it when we go to my father-in-law, who's pretty open-minded, but like Mato will tend to take a step back without realizing it.
Yeah.
And something we've talked about, he'll take a step back and I'll be running around with the kids. Hey, you come here, change this diaper, come here, you sit here, feed this.
Go
We've
ginger
had
the
to have
cuckoo.
conversations for, sorry, a guy, what just happened today?
Him is
I
visiting.
felt like I was on headless chicken mode. And
Him is visiting.
you were the guest,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what was happening? Did you realize I had 3? I was running after the whole day, including cooking and
Yeah.
And serving you
manufacturing
guys
meals
as
and-
well.
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, oh. And you can see genuinely it was not a thing that he had, but clearly it's just default
Default.
settings.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it was the environment of, as men now we are sitting and talking, but I'm like,
Actually.
and granted that, I mean, on my end, it's not as it's. I don't have bad in-laws, honestly. It's not a bad situation where I'm expected to go in and cook and no, but I do. But in that scenario, he's like, oh, then just be nudging me. I'm like, nudge you? Sorry, did you
be
not
aware.
see the children running around? I mean, at what point was nothing cueing you to,
Yeah.
Did you see the children coming in clothes changes? And there was showering that happened there, So sometimes it's okay, I think I struggle with these things happen every day. I mean, as sure as the African sun rises and sets, we shall wake up, brush our teeth, we shall change clothes, we shall have breakfast, we shall have lunch, we shall have, all
Yeah.
these things. There's a bedtime routine. You see these things happening every day. Whether it's this location,
Or
that location, these things are, K is constant.
Yeah.
These things are constant.
is
So the fact
constant.
that you're expecting me to come and nudge you, sorry, what has changed? The parameters didn't change. It was just the location. So I think for me that has been the struggle of, there's times you'll have grace to be able to speak and say, bruh, grab a diaper, or grab this guy while I handle
Yeah.
these guys. But now it's I think it also gets really annoying where you're at the point of nobody tells you to do. I mean, nobody tells me that this child needs to eat. I know it's the time, right? Nobody tells me. I mean, I've had to learn all these cues and all these things. So where are you every day? And why do I have to be the one who's pointing out this? So I guess it does get annoying to the point of there are days you'll have grace to be able to say, hey, just help me. But there are days it's so, you just feel this I don't even know how to describe
Rage.
it. It's just like rage. and you're so angry, you can't even talk. You know, it's almost like labor when there's so much pain, you can't even cry. It's
And you
like,
know, if you output it,
if you
it's
output
just
it,
going
it's
to
gonna
be in
be
such
bad.
a
It's going to go
toxic
nuclear.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna
And then
help.
now you're walking around
With resentment.
Yeah. And everything has extra, extra sass into it. It's like, sit down and eat your food. It's like, are you okay?
Yes, I'm
okay.
great.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I want to renew our vows.
Yeah, So I guess I think it's that part of, I mean, why are we, you keep, I mean, there's this thing where there's, the whole thing where, I mean, women repeat themselves a lot. They sound like a broken record. They're always, yeah. I'm like, listen,
There's a reason.
if we just paid more attention, right, there'd be less reason.
Less reason for me to
sound
talk.
like a broken record.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really going to be tough. I don't know that we ever get to a place where the men are doing the home management to the level that we do it.
Yeah.
I don't think, even in the most egalitarian societies, it's not ever you're never going to have the 50-50 at here, and you're not going to tally and say, I've done 80%, so I'm off now. There are going to be things that you still have to continue doing, simply for the reason that you're the woman of the house.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to just be on top. Accept the children will grow, they'll move out, and then you're like, now it is my turn to eat.
But I guess the question here is, in the negotiations, and I think even if we go back historically, Beth, I've had you mention, with baby number 1, this was this. Okay, so how was it progressively with like 2, 3?
Yeah.
And then what's the improvement? Because we're not saying that there's no improvement.
No, there's lots.
There's lots. And in all honesty, I mean,
Yeah.
all our husbands are amazing.
Yeah.
They are. And they try to do the most as
They are
parents.
on point.
They're not on point because we're here
No, they're
having
on
this
point.
discussion. But there's points to get where they are on certain points. It's true. But I guess it's one of those. It's what's the evolution of, and what are those discussions in between? Because we found ourselves in very interesting discussions in different stages as we try to navigate. And much like you, Beth, I had immediately the baby was in the incubator.
Yeah.
I was already at this. So who's doing what?
Yeah.
How is this going to be handled? And same scenario, it was like, why are we even discussing? Me, I was already at education
Nursery
fund,
school.
where
Yeah.
this kid's going to go. We need to, which curriculum will they do? Which university? He's like, hold your
down.
horses.
Baby has not
madam.
even been born.
Bobby has not been born.
Yeah.
Me, I was already ready for like, can we do parenting class?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we do need to have, we need to be on the same
Page.
And he's looking at me like, chick, you just went from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And like, why are we, and I tend to feel like a good number of them, not all, tend to be on that phase of, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
yeah.
And I think that becomes the friction point. It's the we are ahead in certain things and it's that visionary stage. So I guess for you, let me go back to the question of how have those conversations been in the 1, 2, 3 stage?
Yeah, they've been because I remember actually one particularly explosive discussion where I was like, I feel like I'm a single parent.
I think I've used those words.
Yeah, like what do you mean? Yeah, like you just want to parent by reports. You want me to be telling you what they've eaten today, somebody got hurt, how their feelings are, sijui what, but be there also, just be present. So they've not always been, civilized, diplomatic, calm conversations. There have been some.
Yeah.
But I think there have been breaking points because of not talking, because of those things that build up where I'm like, I'm just noticing day by day, I feel like I'm doing this alone. And I'm going to say I feel like because it's not necessarily that I am. It's not even their perspective that they're not doing something.
Yeah.
But then I have feelings about it that I'm not voicing. And therefore, it's just adding up. And there's expectations that I have. For example, like with the changing diaper things. Like he straight up told me, me and diapers, we ain't doing that. So me, I was like, okay, fine. You know what? I'm going to do diapers. But teeth are yours. Dentist visits are going to be yours. And I decided all of this in my mind, but we never talked about it. That was the problem. A lot of things I was like, okay, Sasa, I'll take it, but I'm not going to tell you about it. So these conversations didn't happen out loud. They were happening in my head, which means that they were coming to conclusions that only existed in my head.
Yeah.
So in sober moments and as the children grew, and as perhaps we saw that even it was affecting our relationship and our marriage, then we started to have discussions about it that were more honest, that were more calm. I think that helped. So it wasn't in the moment and in the heat of, you never do anything, I'm always just here doing by myself. No. I mean, there were those. But then there were the others where we take all of the noise away. In fact, sometimes it's not even happening in the house, because the house, I told you at some point, was feeling like war zone. So we are out of that space, and now we can talk about expectations versus reality.
Yeah.
So he had his expectations as well, to be honest, about how I would help to facilitate his relationship. And for me, I was like, but child is there, pick them up. Like, it's yours also. Yeah, just do it. But then he felt disconnected, and this one shocked me, kabisa. He felt like our baby hated him at some point.
Oh.
Yeah. Nana, the firstborn. So because she would cry when he picks her up, and that rejection broke him. So now he would be afraid to pick her up because he's feeling like this baby just doesn't like me.
Yeah.
But then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you progressively then don't engage with the child and you don't interact with them, you become a stranger. So yes, every time you pick them up, they're not going to like you. But then you see, he never explained this and never said this. So me, where I'm sitting, my feelings are, nigga doesn't want to bond with his child and somehow expects that I will be able to bridge the gap and help them to have a relationship and it's going to be all, rosy and wonderful. I'm taking these nice photos, and for the history books, it's going to look like it was all roses.
Yeah.
But for him, he's suffering inside, because it's just like, I am failing as a father. My child doesn't even want to look at me. When I come home, they're not excited to see me and so on. So having that conversation broke down the walls for both of us. Like I was able to see, so that was what was happening. It's not just that you're clueless or you don't care or you don't want to be present. There was something that you felt like that was a blocker. And the other thing that just made me laugh was he told me he thought that when we go to baby showers, this is where the education is given. Okay, so apparently there's a manual that is brought out. This is where we are taught about diapers, about milk, about what. So he's like, me, I didn't go to that school. So I didn't get those classes.
Step aside for the pros too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They think we absolutely know everything. So I remember Ted would ask me, why is she crying? What does that cry mean?
What does she want?
How is he would ask me these things like I know immediately what the answer is. And I would look at him like, I don't know who you think you're talking to, but even me, I know close to zero about this subject matter.
Yeah.
I am just winging it.
Yeah.
I'm winging it. And so, again, you're building that resentment because of a whole conversation you've had with yourself and you've resolved what we shall do and what I shall not do, but then you don't say. And you're thinking, let him
figure it out.
I am not participating. You're like, but you have to breastfeed this baby. You're the only one who can do it.
Okay. And sometimes the cry or the whatever is not being deciphered ever. It's becoming worse for everybody.
It is worse because now you have said, I am pulling out. I am not involving myself.
So better be stepping back in. Everybody
it is now chaotic.
Just frustrated.
Yeah. But it's really understanding also what you said is that you have totally different parenting styles. And for us, that on my side has been the conflict, the parenting styles. Because the way I was raised, my mother is semi hippie. I'll say semi because the other times I've seen a proper African mother. I'm like, who this? New phone. So it's she has a relaxed approach to dealing with children. And that's the one that I deal with our kids. I am mostly relaxed. I let them, they're very emotional. And I'm like, yes, you just let everything out. And him is like military. Yeah, people will know who I am. And I was like, is that necessary? If you have to keep reminding us who you are you really that? Must you tell us every day you are the disciplinarian? So that is where we butt heads because I see his style is so different from mine. And I'm like, but mine is the better one. Do you not know? Have you not been told? Yeah. That is the challenge. And I think that is what is in the current phase because I think I had free reign when they were much smaller. He would defer to me. But now he's stepping up in a way I'm like, first
Stop coming.
stop
Yeah.
stop arriving. Huku ni kwangu.
Yeah.
This is my domain. But then I still want him to do the things that I want him to do. So I can't even, in myself, I sound like you're undecided. You know?
I think there's so many facets when it comes to parenting that are so. There's the early stages where you're like, it's the baby just needs that 24/7, 365 care of like changing, like you're always on them, like you always have to be on the mark, right? And at that point, he's zooming in and out of this space and plugging in as they deem fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in that stage, now my understanding is they feel like this child is so small and so you're the one who basically understands what their needs are. It's like you're the primary caregiver. You're the one who's likely to understand. So mine will just be like, okay, I can hold them to sleep maybe after they fed, or I can bap them, or I can change a diaper here or there, or, you know. But I do remember like in that stage being like, okay, you know, you do realize, I guess some of those things came automatically because it was like, okay, maybe I can't bend because I have stitches. Somebody needs to wash this baby. It's definitely not me, you know? And so it would be okay, now where do you even hold there? Okay, you just hold like this and then you do like this. What if I choke them? It's your child. You'll know when they're choking. They'll be fine, you know? Let them get used to your touch. And so I also had to get to a point where in some stages, I've also had to learn to just say, you don't be as critical. This child will get used to the father's touch, whichever way they're touched. And it's not, honestly, the nurses, some of those nurses handle your child a lot rougher than
My gosh,
your
have you seen that
husband
video where the child is being washed like this?
I mean, honestly, and those children are fine. They look like they're crying. No. So it's sometimes also letting them get
Just
into their own groove and style of doing it. And I did see that with him getting even more confident with now washing the babies. And then he was more confident with washing them over and over again. Of course, that quickly died as soon as one person was able to do it. And it was the end. It was I was only needed for a season, right? Because really I didn't enjoy the job. So it's just that sometimes I feel like the resentment can build from feeling like as mothers, we don't have a choice as to whether you want to or don't want to.
You can't pick
You're
it up
never
and put it
presented
down.
the option. You're never given. And the saddest part is this child, if it's not done if you don't do it for them, it won't be done. Nobody else will care for your child the way you'll care for them. And unfortunately, it's just because of how everybody else has positioned themselves. The house is not going to love your child because, I mean, the way you love them. Because they're not theirs, right?
Yeah.
The husband is like, listen, I feel like this is messing with my emotional, I've stepped away. But we will keep going into
Come
this
rain,
thing,
come shine, come
So
disease.
it's the conversations around, just please hold this child. I'm really sleepy. Or do this. Or what can you do before I go to bed? You know, all this. And even then it was just murky in terms of everybody trying to figure out where is what. Okay. So that's stage one. Then the next stage is they're a bit more, they're toddlers. They're in the stage where they want to crawl, walk. They're hectic. And in this stage, there's also a lot more. Now there's food prep. It's no longer you're the manufacturer. It's now you're actually physically manufacturing food, thinking about buying, you know, managing that process. The responsibilities are growing. And I think for me, the biggest challenge has been, I feel like I still left you at the initial stage. Like the things you are doing,
Have not
I feel
evolved.
like they're still the same things you're doing, other than maybe school fees and a pick up and a drop off. Yeah. Where are we evolving? Like if it's, let's say KPLC and whatever bills you were handling them before I came, and you're still handling them now. And now we're doing things together.
Yeah.
But now, in fact, you used to shop. Now you don't shop. You know, you used to, but now
A
you
woman
don't.
of the house has come.
You know, you don't used to handle your housey, but now I handle the housey. You know, but it's like, okay, so I feel like for me, I stepped out of. I used to do the same things I used to do by myself. Now I've come in, and there's like 10 times the load, and people have options of tuning in and tuning out when they feel like. And unfortunately, and sometimes even when we have the conversations, he'll be like, I see it from your view. I really do. And I now understand and feel it.
But we'll be back.
But
Yeah.
in a few, you know, we revert back to default settings. So it's the question of where do you reach that medium? I mean, I feel like for the parenting bit, in terms of discipline and things like that, for me, I found that one of the things that we have now had to enroll into is parenting class. The Mukwalo is parenting class, which then now in the bid to try and get us on the same page, because his parenting style is he can be strict, but it's almost like I feel like it doesn't have a formula, like which are the big things where, and the small things that we're going to lose our temper about. And, and even for me, sometimes that happens depending on the space I'm in. But it's like the points when there are times when you're disciplining and you're hoping that you'll have that backup from, let's pick one. Then,
United.
At that moment when you're just about to
Us
pick up
versus
the
them.
kachapa for like, come here now, it's discipline time. It's like, but is it that bigger as the child is listening? And you're like, did you just... So that already has become now another
Contention.
bone of contention, because you're not on the same space or same page around these things. So it's just that finding that balance is a tricky bit. And even as they change and evolve, because you're like, okay, here we've not even hit any of we've not hit preteens, we've not hit teens, we've not hit. So if we're not on the same page now,
and some of the big things are still coming up.
And some of the big things are coming. I think that also for me becomes a trigger to a lot of these other things getting worse. For like, we're still here at the... You
Are we
just went and made
watching TV?
breakfast and sat down. You sat down and ate dinner, served your food. Sure, beeline to the TV, sat down to eat, and everybody's at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
What
Or
happened
it's
to
Sunday
sitting
afternoon
down?
and you just walked out?
Yeah, and just left.
Yeah.
Randomly. Or it's Thursday.
To shave.
The housey has
To
gone.
wash the car.
The housey has gone on leave.
Yeah.
This evening we have nobody.
Yeah.
No help. And I've gone for futa.
Yeah. Catch a drink
Type
with
of
my boys.
situation. But yeah, and I guess in those conversations we have evolved in some of them, where some of them have been very explosive. To the point that people have had to put down their bags at the door for like, do you think you are leaving me with this tribe? These ones? Yeah. No, not today, sir.